What's going on, guys? Welcome in the Rover Sports. Happy weekend. July 22nd. Um, we actually got an announcement. I think we're going to be covering Redskins training camp in a couple of weeks. So, for you Washington Redskins fans out there, going to try to conduct some good interviews. It's going to be tough getting Josh Norman because he's probably going to be with the media a lot, and Kirk Cousins, maybe Kirk Cousins as well. But anyway, guys, let's look at Jared Goff. This was a tough watch. This was a really tough watch, kind of a torturous watch of watching Jared and interim coach John Fossil in this game. And actually, one of the more impressive plays was Jared able to get the ball out to Brian Quick on this particular play. And no one really accounts for the blitzer. That'll be a consistent theme. You're going to see Todd Gurley just go into the turnstile. And nothing really Todd can do. I mean, as talented as Todd Gurley is, I mean, you just see there, Andrew Donald doesn't get over in time, and you're working with backup offensive linemen, guys off the street, and it's just embarrassing. It looked like their Tavon Austin was wide open. Let's see if Tavon is open. Yes, he's open. Unfortunately, though, this is really where you're going to see where the breakdown happens. So here you go. You get, again, 64's Andrew Donald, who's playing guard. He's got to shift over, and Kevin Minter's coming in. So I believe it's Kevin Minter. Yes, should be 51. Kevin Minter is coming in. So Donald misses Kevin Minter, okay? And that's what causes Jared here. But Jared also got to get the ball out of his hands quickly. The guy doesn't get the ball out of his hands quickly. But, they're starting guys like Tim Barnes, Andrew Donald, Roger Saffold. I mean, your line's going to look a lot different next year. I know Greg Robinson, he's been a massive, massive, massive disappointment. I believe he might have been the second overall pick in like 2012 out of Auburn. Boy, oh boy, just Les Snead again, butchering a pick. But you look here at the Rams, and they got the guy from the Bengals, Andrew Whitworth's going to be coming in. And Havenstein is hopefully he'll be healthy. They got John Sullivan as a center. So, I mean, this line's going to be completely different, though, in the following year. And it better be. And by the way, Buffalo Bills fans have the Denver offensive coordinator from last year, who was awful, who sucked with Trevor Siemian and Paxton Lynch. And the Rams get the offensive coordinator who made Kirk Cousins into an elite player, who made that fourth-round pick successful, who made Deshaun Jackson, Jordan Reed. That Redskins offense was humming, okay? I know that a lot of people think they sucked versus the Giants, and they did. But Sean McVay is an absolute rock star, okay? He is as charismatic a coach as you can find. He is going to make Jared Goff into whatever Jared Goff can be, which I don't think is much. I mean, this guy's not a first-round talent. And here's a bad call. This shouldn't be roughing the passer at all. I mean, the guy's hands and his helmet come at the same time. And again, you see misassignments here. You see 64, Donald. I don't think he's going to be playing on the team this year. He misses, and I think it's the exact same rush. And our Our guy Kevin Minter goes right into Jared Goff. Jared Goff doesn't make the checks. No leadership happening. This is not safe to play football behind this offensive line. This is dangerous. And Kevin Minter goes right in. And look, they called that a roughing the passer. That's a good clean knock. I mean, way too many penalties in the NFL. I mean, that's the reason nobody watches, because the playoffs were awful. I could talk all about the playoffs. Bottom line is pass interference rewards you touchdowns in the NFL. It should be 15-yard penalties. Too many penalties. Ridiculous. Let me see this for a second. There was one run where Todd Gurley actually had an opportunity to make something happen. Okay, he followed his blocks there. That was good. That was a good job by Todd. He got the most out of that. Oh, this is something I could critique. This is just not a good throw. This is a guy who's not controlling of the football. And like everybody talks about Jared Goff's hand size only being 9 1/4 inches and that he can't grip the ball. I mean, this just looks like it slips out of his hands. It's so massively inaccurate. He pulls this thing all the way to the sideline. Even the ref gets nervous he's going to get into that throw. I mean, the footwork's okay. The ball does happen to have a little bit of pop off his hands, but it's just massively inaccurate. And this offense, I mean, shows no creativity. And Jared's just not quick in making decisions. He doesn't turn his head there to the other side of the field. Decent throw there to Pharaoh Cooper. I like Pharaoh Cooper. I actually think Les Snead made a good pick with Pharaoh Cooper. All right, here we go. All right. Let's see. I think we're, yes. Yes. Okay. We're continuing to chuck along here on Rover Sports, Jared Goff review. This is the run where Todd Gurley happens to mess this thing up. Because, look, everybody, and give the Rams credit here. I mean, Jamon Brown is in the game now, another backup. They're putting hats on hats, okay? So if Todd Gurley, he's a little bit impulsive here. He doesn't make a great decision. His vision fails him here. This could be a huge gainer right through the main hole. Everybody's going left here to the weak side, and Todd happens to cut back right into the defense. He's got to follow his blockers there. He's got to trust the play. And trust me, I'd say 90% of the time, you're dealing with guys like Jamon Brown and Andrew Donald, guys off the street playing offensive linemen. So 90% of the time, there's no daylight for Todd Gurley, and psychologically, it's just a mess. I mean, this team, you look at the bottom, I mean, the Chargers now, I know that they only were a couple of games better, but they're leaps and bounds better than this ball club. And they make the Cardinals look like the 86 Bears. Ugh. Hate the play call here. Hate the play call. Because this actually isn't Jared's fault. And you might say, the protection's perfect. Okay, name where Jared could throw this ball. Let's pause it right here. There's no checks whatsoever. These guys are all blanketed in the secondary, okay? There's no checks. These receivers aren't running decisive quick routes. There's no cohesiveness at all. And Jared Goff's a quiet kid. He's not going to say anything to these wide receivers on the sideline. It's just, it's not safe. It's just, it really is. And Sean Mannion got in the fourth quarter of this game. This is sending your guy out to slaughter. And look at, Roger Saffold, who's here at left guard. Look at him, or right guard. Look at him. He's not even in the stance. These guys aren't even in the stance. They can't even hear the snap count. It's a home game. I mean, this is just a mess. Oh my gosh. It's just hard to take. It's hard to really learn. It's hard to learn when you're so incompetent. Like, it's really hard to dissect. At least with Carson Wentz and, at least we have, like, suitable lines and suitable NFL caliber people and players. Just hard, when your team's just getting mauled and your offensive line is just completely incompetent. That's why you got to take things with a grain of salt. You let Jared, start a couple of games. Footwork here is awful. The guy doesn't have a high upside, though. I mean, he's 6'4", he plays like he's 6'2". His arm strength is lower echelon in the NFL. His feet are slow. He's fading away from his throws. The good news is the guy did get thrown into the fire. You could say that. I mean, maybe Jared Goff will be like next year, my offensive line couldn't be any worse. Guy's throwing motion is okay. It's not slow. But there's nothing that Jared does that's exceptional that warrants him being a number one overall pick. The kid's a good kid. And we're just going to have to see what quarterback whisperer McVay can do with him. We're going to have to see if Jared's work ethic can improve, if we can get some cohesiveness. I mean, that's a very good throw. There isn't a lot of opportunity in this game, and there's not a lot of risk-taking from Jared Goff in this football game. Everything is underneath. There's no risks. And, I mean, I have to admit, I am a big believer in the Cardinals. I don't know how this team fell last year. I still think the Cardinals can have a magical year. Can get back to their NFC Championship selves if they could stay healthy. Because I love Harold Goodwin and Arians. I really do. So, I really like this Cardinals team. For the Rams, the preseason will be interesting, for this football team. We're going to watch here a couple more plays. Good throw here from Jared. Gets the ball out. And that's what, a good coordinator's going to do because Arizona's bringing pressure. If the O-line's terrible and they're playing off, then you got to get the ball out of your hands. And luckily, Jared does that there effectively. Couple of creative play calls from the Rams. Great play. I mean, I thought they had him. I really did. But Marcus Cooper made an unbelievable play on this ball. I mean, Marcus read it incredibly well. I mean, because I thought that Lance Kendricks, or when they ran this pick play, it's Brian Quick. I thought that Quick was going to be wide open right here. And that's where the pick maybe needs to be more effective. But he slips under the screen like a basketball term, and Marcus Cooper able to make good contact with him. Then they don't go for it, and I don't even know if I'll do the last game. I mean, Goff did have success, in the last football game, but there is nothing on tape that says that Jared Goff should be even awarded the starting job. I mean, this offense proved absolutely nothing. It's just a heartless and untalented group of players on this offense. I mean, you do have Pharaoh Cooper. But there you see, Brian Quick, Jeff Fisher is gone. There's just so many things that go into this absolute disaster. And when you finish in the bottom 5, there's going to be disaster. So there's no light at the end of the tunnel of this film review, unfortunately. And this is just Jared Goff. Let's see if we have a safety valve on this particular passing play. Jared, his eyes mostly staying in the same area. And here, I mean, if he had protection, you would hope that he would get to Pharaoh Cooper out here at the 40-yard line. He doesn't, of course. They probably run another sweep move with the defensive end. They do. Every time they run that sweep move. Every single time. And they can't figure it out. I mean, Kevin Minter, every single time they run the sweep move, it's unbelievable. There was Chandler Jones, who Chandler Jones is an upper echelon linebacker in the NFL. So listen, that's the Jared Goff film review. Sean Mannion had to come in. It's a 44-6 slaughter. I'm going to show you some Niners tape. I think the Rams actually have some success against the Niners, so we'll look at that. We don't have to look at the Falcons tape. It's eerily similar in a kind of depressing and pessimistic way. Alrighty, guys. You guys are great. We got some Carson Wentz coming up. We got more Paxton Lynch coming up. And thanks, guys, and we'll see you all very, very soon. We'll see you guys.